Hey you guys, I'm back. I'm just shooting another quick video because I had some other things on my mind that maybe I didn't touch on in the last video. Every time I say Keneeka's death was an accident, something in my stomach, something in my gut keeps telling me it's almost like I'm hearing something from her, but I'm not into that kind of stuff, so I'm not saying it's really happening. I'm just saying, I just get this feeling like I hear this voice saying, "Don't give up on me. Don't give up on me." And in reality, it's just my imagination that I'm feeling some kind of way that I'm saying it was an accident when I'm not really 100% convinced that it was an accident. I'm also not 100% convinced that we'll ever be able to prove it was actually a murder. And I'm the type of person who I like to base things, on fact, and I like to stay away from just theories and conjecture and all those types of things. So that's the only reason I really keep saying, we need to consider, that it could have been an accident because, the lack of evidence that we have and the lack of proof that we have, and we really don't have any way of getting any more information. All these people want to say her uncle J Money had discovered this and that, and he was about to, expose some people, and then he was killed, and then the other girl that was Keneeka's friend, or at least may have known Keneeka, she was shot in Chicago a week or so ago. Who knows if it was related to anything, that had to do anything with Keneeka, or maybe it was just some random act, or maybe it was something that girl, that young lady, was already into, So who knows if it's connected? Who knows if even her uncle's death had anything to do with what happened to her, or what he was investigating, or whatever. Who really knows? I don't know. But beyond that, I just wanted to add one more thing to the foot thing. With Keneeka's foot being cut, this thing's been bothering me a little bit because, no one knows where she cut her foot. They don't know. I said one part of her foot looks like it may have been, just from the shoe. But then when I think about it, I'm like, she had to shoe off this one shoe off, not both shoes off. And then I look at how dirty her pants are. It's like you don't get that dirty from just sitting on the floor. You might get that dirty from rolling around in a wet environment, or a cooler, or what, I don't know. But she's just got so much black stuff on her jeans. It just doesn't look like she got that from, you would imagine that she's in the cooler, she's trying to get out. You would imagine that the majority of the time she would be standing up, trying to get out, maybe banging up against the door, pushing up against it. But it's really not like, it is not hard to get out of those freezers if the doors are working. You just push the knob. I don't know how many of you guys have ever been in a freezer like that, but I've worked in a grocery store before, and we have coolers like that, double coolers and all those kind of things. People go in them, hundreds of times a day, taking food in, taking food out, especially when you work in a grocery store like Whole Foods, like I did, that has prepared foods kitchen area. People making deliveries, people going in there getting what they need, making breakfast, making lunch, making dinner. If this cooler was rented out to someone, I cannot believe that the cooler wasn't functional. If it was turned on, then that means that whoever was, Crown Plaza renting that cooler out to whoever they were renting it to, it should have been in working condition. It should have been checked to make sure it worked before they started renting it. But Crown Plaza can't tell us who they were renting it to, how long they had been renting it, if it was on or off, if it was locked or unlocked. We're not getting any information, and that's why we're still at square one. That's why we're still at square one, because we're not getting any information. And this is the type of information that Miss Martin should have been seeking, or her investigation team should have been seeking. But I think, Crown Plaza came out from, the first couple of days and said, yeah, it was an accident. And, they pretty much left it at that. It was an accident. We're going to give you some money for it. It was our fault. The area should have been secured, blah, 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 blah. Please stop protesting. I think that's how it went down. And I think that's why we really don't have any information, because they're saying, look, this was an accident. It wasn't a murder. We're going to pay for it. It was our fault. You guys forget about it and, just let it be what it is. And we're not giving you guys any more information. We're only giving you guys this footage because you guys are outside protesting, and we want to make it transparent that nobody murdered her. That's why you're getting the video. It's not like they owe it to us. How many other times have we seen video to this degree? 36 hours of video turned over, whether you say it's edited or clean or whatever the case may be. We know it's not the original video. It was turned in on a flash drive, so we know it's bits and pieces of that 36 hours that gave us an idea of what happened to Keneeka, or what may have happened. The only missing part is we never saw her go into the freezer. We don't know how she got so dirty. But, in addition to that, we also don't know, if she was murdered. We would expect to see certain things like, maybe someone hit her in the face. Maybe someone, if she got in a fight, they pulled her hair and some of her hair was missing. Or, she's got a busted lip or broken fingernails or skin under the fingernails or, something. But even though we're absent of all those things, we still have a gut feeling that something ain't right. And the question has got to come at some time. When are we going to get justice? Not only justice for Keneeka, but just justice as people in general. Justice with how these police departments and things view us, how they treat us, how they deal with us. When are we going to get that kind of justice? That's the conversation that's going to have to be had at some point. I'm going to move on from that. But I just want to ask you this. With all the violence against people, the way police are trying to arrest suspects, and when the suspect is not cooperating, they're kicking the suspect when they're handcuffed, punching them in the face, slamming pregnant women down on the ground. And, black people, we standing around, stop resisting, just give up, John, stop resisting. They slamming John, banging his head on the floor, doing whatever. And we videoing, thinking about that lawsuit. I mean, that's another subject right there. But I'm going to move on from that because I don't want to get too worked up and too riled up and too pissed off. But having said that, I want to move on for a minute to the Jholie Mousa case, because there's some things about the Jholie Mousa case. Again, we're just not getting information, and that's why we're not getting any justice. Like, I would like to know how they decided to go back to the park for the second time to look for the body when they actually discovered it covered in brush. Did they get a tip? Also, I would like to know, how is it that Jholie Mousa was choked by her ex-boyfriend 2 or 3 days prior to her death, and she's sitting in the house with her sister, who knows about her being choked and all this kind of stuff, knows the violent history that she had with that young African boyfriend that she had. And his name is on the internet. I just can't remember what it is, but I know he's African. But anyway, how is it that her sister knows the history that she's had with this boy? And her sister is the one that described her as being jumpy and jittery and uneasy and, not concentrating on doing her hair. And then she is texting the whole time, and then all of a sudden she just jumps up and like, I'll be right back. But her sister tells you that Jholie's cell phone needed to be charged. It was almost dead. Okay, fine. That's good information. But if that's the case, I would ask you, if Jholie Mousa's cell phone was almost dead when she left the house at 4 o'clock, how is that same cell phone texting her, not texting, but how is that same cell phone texting throughout the rest of the day, a couple of times here and there, and that same cell phone made a phone call at 1 a.m.? You know how long it is from 4:45 in the afternoon to 1 in the morning on a phone that's almost dead? That means, in my, I'm thinking that means that cell phone was charged, and that means that somebody else made that 1 a.m. phone call other than Jholie. I always wanted to know where that phone call originated from. If that phone was used to call Jholie's mom at 1 a.m. and she didn't pick up the phone, I always want to know, well, where did that phone call originate from? Did it originate from Norfolk, where you guys said the party was? I don't think Jholie came home from school, was in, the bathroom with her sister doing her hair, walks out the house, going to meet somebody for just a couple of minutes, promises to be right back, and then she just, jumps in the car and rides to Norfolk for a party. No girl does that. What girl would not be dressed appropriately for a party and just jump in the car and be like, yeah, I'm going to Norfolk. Yeah, I know it's 5 o'clock, but we're going to leave wherever they live at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You ever driven through Virginia at 5 o'clock in the afternoon? That's crazy traffic. So for her to just be in the house 1 minute doing her sister's hair, she's got, she has to freshen up and all those kind of things that women do. My wife is very feminine, so I know if it takes her 2 hours to get ready and she's known where she's going all day long, Jholie Mousa is not gonna, just walk out the house and go to a party without coming back and freshening up, changing clothes, tightening up her hair a little bit, putting on some lipstick, take a shower. All that kind of stuff is weird to me. It's like, women don't do that. Women don't just jump in a car and just go to a party, and be in a social setting and they haven't freshened up. That's weird. And it's also weird that her sister wouldn't find it strange that she just left saying she'd be right back, and now all of a sudden she's going to Norfolk and she's not coming back for the night. And they texting her, she's texting back, but they're not having any real conversations. Like, if your friend was supposed to come spend the night and you go over to the house to pick them up, and you find out, oh, they caught a ride with God knows who to Norfolk and just threw you under the bus. I mean, not threw you under the bus, but just, forgot about your plans, and this your best friend. You're going to be like, who the heck are you with? I'm your bestie. I'm your best friend. And your other best friend is so-and-so. So who you riding to Norfolk with? But that never came up. Her sister allowed her to leave the house knowing that she had been in a very abusive relationship with a crazy boy, and now their father's not home. They're home alone, and Jholie leaves at just before it gets dark, and she's going to meet somebody you don't know who. If her sister was really concerned, why wouldn't she ask? I believe she did ask. I believe she did know. I find it strange that she also canceled her plans to go spend the night with Leslie And now she's, with one of her friends in the house all night. I'm not going to point the finger at her, but I'm saying, if they twins, you don't know who that was that left the house. We could have thought that was Jholie and that was Zane that left the house at 4:45 or whatever. And when she came back through a back door. We don't know. But I'm saying I don't like her attitude. I don't like the fact that, she ended up moving out after all this happened. I would be afraid if one of my daughters was murdered and then my other daughter tells me, oh, I'm going to move out. I'm going to go get my own apartment. I'm going to go live someplace else. I would be thinking, hey, if this person got one daughter, they could get the next daughter. I don't even know if this person knows who they are or will target, my second daughter. You're not going nowhere to live by yourself until we figure out what's going on, till we have an arrest. I'm going to have you on lock and key. And I would like to know the guy that let the killer use his cell phone. How is this killer? This killer is either the smartest person on earth, second to, well, I ain't gonna say that, the smartest person on earth, or the dumbest person on earth. How you just walk up to a random kid who can recognize you, borrow his cell phone, and 5 minutes later, the girl who you call with that cell phone ends up dead, and now the kid can't, remember you. That means you're not from the area. Maybe that's why you didn't go to the house to meet Jholie. Maybe that's why you had to meet her at a public park. But it's not like whoever Jholie went to meet, whether it was the actual person that was at the park or whether it was somebody else. Jholie thought she knew who she was going to meet. That means she had talked to that person before. She was comfortable. If it was a new person, then you should be able to look back through her history, not only Snapchat, but text, or her friends should have heard the name of this person or should have some idea about who this person might be or something. It's not going to be like, oh, you have a twin sister and two best friends and they've never heard you mention this guy that you're interested in that's not your boyfriend. What was the ex-boyfriend so mad about, if anything, that he, almost strangled you to death 2 days ago? Did he know who this new love interest may have been? Sorry, y'all. That was my son busting in the room again. He don't have the courtesy to knock or nothing. That boy's a wild man. But anyway, that's my thoughts on Jholie and her sister and her friends. I can't understand how these kids today, they into this no snitching policy and all that kind of stuff. If somebody killed my best friend, then I'm snitching. You can call it what you want. You kill my best friend, someone in my family or something along those lines, even if, I don't even like the fact that you killed nobody. The fact of whether they my friend or family member or whatever the case may be, I don't live by that street code where you can just kill my best friend and all that kind of stuff. And just because there's some unwritten street code, you think somebody not gonna turn you into the police. No, you're an animal. You deserve to be locked in a cage if you run around killing people. So I hope we can get rid of this no snitch. That's the kind of stuff that criminals admire. If you into that no snitch thing, that mean you like it or not. If you can't do right when it's time to do right, then you're a bad person. That's all I got to say. And I don't care how nobody feels about it. If you will let somebody get murdered, and you'll be like, oh, I'm not going to tell because, I live by this street code. If you're not benefiting from the street code, why you adhere to it? That'd be my question. The street code ain't helping me none, because I don't live like that. So why would I respect the street code? kill somebody that I know, let me find out, I'm telling on you. I'm like Pearl the nosy neighbor. If I find out, you're going to jail because you're a killer. You're an animal. You deserve it. So that's my time, guys. I didn't want to, make another video of, you guys looking at my mug all day. I just pointed it to the street. It's 5 o'clock here in the UAE. It's the month of Ramadan, so not as much traffic as you would normally see. Everybody's getting ready to, be sitting somewhere and breaking their fast and eating and all that kind of stuff. So it's not too much going on, but I figure, be a different scene for you guys. That's the airport over there, the executive airport. So just a different thing for you guys to look at today. But anyway, that's my time, guys. I thank you. Like and subscribe. Leave me a comment, and let's get this discussion going. Peace. Thank you.